Excellency. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for coming and for giving me this opportunity to be with you.
I want to ask you about essentially how you're going to restore a feeling of security and confidence in the financial sector in Lebanon.
This is an uphill struggle. It's not easy, but it's doable if we really do the work properly. Unfortunately, in Lebanon, usually your priorities go vertically. Yes. In Lebanon, the priorities are horizontal. So you really have to deal with everything at the same time. That's what we are trying to do. I thought from the beginning that I have to start with a deal with the IMF. Everybody has standing on the sidelines, watching. Are you really going to be doing reforms? I mean, governments before have promised. We have so many laws that are actually structural reform laws that for years haven't been implemented, that will really deal with the very important sectors in Lebanon. So we have these, low-hanging fruits that we are starting to use to actually appoint. Actually, the government has made a very transparent process of how to appoint, officials in many places. We're starting to appoint regulatory authorities that will have to start the job of restructuring these sectors. The first thing I did, I had a meeting with the IMF representative in Beirut. We had a big chat for an hour, and then that afternoon I was happy to receive a communique from IMF that they're ready to engage. And that's how it started. So we have had 2 meetings so far. We're having meetings here.
Now, Morgan Ortegus, the U.S. Deputy Representative for the Middle East from the U.S., suggested just a couple of weeks ago in an interview with me that Lebanon was going to come to these IMF meetings prepared to take an IMF deal.
We are on the road. There was a requirement for us to start actually restructuring the banking sector, which, Lebanon, unfortunately, for the past 5-6 years, has been hit once again and again and again. So we had a crisis in the banking sector back in 2019. Nobody did anything about it for the past 5-6 years. So that's also where we wanted to start. So we passed, and this is the first time the government actually passes a bank secrecy law, amendments on the bank secrecy law, which opens the door for the Bank Control Commission, the central bank, to really have no objection, nothing objecting to its access to all accounts.
Is it retroactive?
Yeah, 10 years back.
10 years.
10 years back. And this
So you're really going to name and shame?
The banks, the judge is not me. But I mean.
But you're pushing for that to happen.
No, we are actually doing the right thing. This has to happen. This has to, because many people probably took very high interest rates. There was all this talk about it, but just to make sure that no wrongdoing has been done, this was necessary. This was passed in the government last week. We managed to actually pass it in the joint committees. And the speaker today, actually, as we speak, this morning in Beirut, he actually called for a General Assembly. It's going to be on the agenda on Thursday. So that, I am sure, is going to be done. We also passed a new law to regulate the banking system. And this has also been passed in government. And this morning it has been passed over to the Finance Committee that will have a look at it and then will approve it in Parliament. We are a democracy, so we have to go to that process. We cannot just sign it in and it's a law. It has to go through a democratic process. But I'm sure it's going in the right direction. So the government has done.
So you're getting close.
We're getting close. We are in the process, and it takes a bit of time, but hopefully it will happen. I'm confident it will happen.
I want you to walk me through that banking secrecy legislation, because you're saying it's retroactive as much as 10 years. This should catch in the net those who made out like bandits in Lebanon.
Look, everybody who's been doing the right things have no problem. But if somebody has doing, wrong things, he probably will have to pay for it, because what is actually, all this relates to people's money, yeah. Deposits, you see. So people want to know what happened, and the process is going to happen. Now, who is going to do it? You see, we are actually, by making these laws, we are providing the tools for the central bank and for the Bank Control Commission to start doing its work properly. They haven't been able to do it before because they were vague sentences in the last alterations in the bank secrecy law in 2022. It wasn't very clear what they could do. Now it's very clear that they have full access to all accounts with names and amounts and everything.
Do you think some people ought to be worried?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not the judge. You see, I'm not. We have to do.
But the thought process is that so many people behaved badly across all sections of Lebanese life that it could be a bloodbath if that information is released.
But why don't you wait and see? I mean, you see, we are a democracy. We have a judicial system, and we have a banking commission. And maybe you would be happy to know that also
And you're saying it works now.
It's going to work because there's a new law for independent judiciary. This law will be soon on the agenda of the Council of Ministers to approve and send it also to Parliament. It was in Parliament. It was withdrawn by the Minister of Justice last year to have another look at it. The government took it back now and is going to be approving it soon, and it will go to Parliament for approval. So you will have from now on, hopefully, an independent judiciary. You see, it's unfair for a person in any position to make prejudgment on anybody. You know, maybe there's been wrongdoing. Okay, we'll find out soon.
The question that I hear again and again is, when are we going to get the money back?
Yeah, depositors.
Depositors. Can you tell the Lebanese people that money is coming back?
We have been telling them. We have been telling
all of it.
We have been telling the depositors from day one when we took over as a.
But not everyone's going to be made whole.
No. I mean, let's wait and see. First of all, we are saying that there's not going to be let's say cancellations of deposits. We're going to start a process of giving the money back. It's going to be gradual. First, we'll start with the small depositors that are 84% of the depositors. And that's agreed with the IMF. This is the process that has been agreed. And then we'll move on to higher deposits and then higher deposits. There will be a kind of issuance of bonds, arrangements. There's no banking system in the world that can give all the money to all the depositors at the same time. It doesn't happen. The mistake that took place in the 2019 is failure of Parliament or central bank to issue a bank control arrangement or law. And there was a rush on the banking system. And again, I repeat, no banking system in the world. So hopefully, this is the second step after we have done these two laws, given the tools to central bank to start the process of really finding what happened, what is going to be available, and putting together a plan. We have, by the way, a new governor who just was sworn in a couple of weeks ago. He's with us here as well in Washington.
I'm chasing him for an interview.
He doesn't like to give interviews.
He told me.
He from day one.
Stop me.
From day one, he said he's not going to be giving. He's in a position. He needs to be silent and he needs to do his work very carefully. We're also changing all there are going to be appointments next month for vice governors and for the Bank Control Commission. So there'll be a new team. And so they have the tools now. They can start the process of really looking, without any constraints, to what happened.
So we can look forward in Lebanon to a day of reckoning for bad actors.
It's going to come. Well, it should have come maybe earlier, but it is going to come.
Tell me this. When you take a step back and think about what happens next with the banks, Carlos Ghosn told me just yesterday that right now the banks in Lebanon are zombie banks. They're not acting in the way that they should be. What does the banking sector look like in your mind a year from now?
At the moment, of course, their money is with the central bank. So once why are we passing this regulatory law to regulate the banking system? to get back a working banking system. I told the Banking Association when they came to see me a few weeks ago, I mean, you have to keep in mind, we are not going to allow in Lebanon any bank who doesn't have capital adequacy and who's not really adhering to all the international requirements, Basel 2 and 3 and all the requirements. So regulating them means the central bank has to go back to being a regulator. For a while during the past years, the central bank became everything in Lebanon. Lender of last resort, giving housing loans, you name it, he was doing it. And this actually it's not the business of the central bank. The central bank should be doing its job, regulating the banking system. Lebanon, you see, some people think that we are out to really get all the banks or bring new banks from abroad. It's not true. We want actually our banking system to be back healthy and operating properly. And
but we need consolidations?
Yeah, this is a process. It might be consolidation, it might be recapitalization. Everything is allowed, you see, and it's all in the law. But we need a banking system. We are today, unfortunately, on the gray list of FATF. Do you want to be there? Of course we don't want to be there. And do you want to remain like this and go to the blacklist? We don't want to do that. But how do we get out of that list? We need the banking system because we are there. We are accused of being a cash economy. But do you think the Lebanese like to have cash at home? Of course not. It's risking your life and your money. So we want to go back to a normal banking system, get the money back. It's not only that we will get off the gray list. It's also all this money, which they say is billions, stashed at home, goes back to the banking system.
How far away are we from that?
We are in the process, you see. Nobody likes to give dates when you are just starting. We are in the process.
But you think people will put their money back in the banks? They'll have confidence once again.
If they see that the process that's taking place is actually a sincere one, is actually dealing with the problem and assuring them that these banks that are going to be working in Lebanon are safe, are under proper regulation, and have proper capital adequacy and adhering to all international requirements.
May I ask you to make the case for why Lebanon needs an IMF bailout? Because a lot of people say it doesn't. They've got gold. What is it in your mind that is so important about essentially putting Lebanon in hock to the IMF? Because it doesn't work out for a lot of countries that do it.
No, you see, unfortunately, you see, Lebanon has failed for a long, long time to do any reforms. I just told you about all the unimplemented laws and the sectors. I mean, can you imagine what happened to us in Lebanon?
I witnessed it and reported on it. You
see, we have lost billions in the electricity sector.
Yes.
For getting a few hours a day. I mean, is this comprehensible? Such a well-educated nation with, well-educated people all over the world working.
Corruption.
It's corruption, clinging to authority. In the new law, there will be no minister able to do all things himself. There will be a regulatory body that regulates the sector. We're going to get the private sector to get involved. That's the law. This is the law that was put in the drawer for so long. So, we'll have a private sector going into generation. We will have private sector going into distribution and collection, and we will keep for the state the transmission.
Yeah.
So we're taking a loan now from the World Bank to spend $250 million on transmission, reduce losses on this process. And so actually.
So why do they need the IMF loan in Lebanon?
Let me tell you why. Because nobody anymore. You see, we have called wolf so many times that nobody believes us anymore. Why are we here in a big presence? 4 ministers, governor of the central bank, advisors, etc. Why? We want to try and close this gap of confidence that has been created over the past years. We are going everywhere. I want to go away to the conference. came here. We're only here 8 weeks or 9 weeks in government, but we are going to be all around the world, and we are going to be doing the right thing. Everybody now who wants to help Lebanon, you know, we have huge needs for reconstruction. I mean, look what happened to Lebanon. Like 2019, banking crisis.
So IMF is about restoring confidence?
IMF is actually giving you a bill of health, that you are on the right track to...
But do you want to be in debt to them just for a bill of health?
It's not only about money, it's about getting the certificate, because everybody else, everybody in the world today is on the sidelines watching. You know, I received in the past few weeks so many visitors. I make 7, 8 appointments, all international, and everybody sits on the next to me. After 3, 4, 5 minutes, how are you doing with the IMF? So the IMF became a requirement to give you a clean bill of health, that you are really moving on with all your, cleaning the banking system, moving on with all the reforms that you have promised many years ago, and so on. So yeah, I mean, that's why we need it. It's the door that we have to go through to go back to the world. You know, don't forget also we have other problems.
Yes.
We have defaulted on our Eurobonds, and we have to go back to restructuring that. And so it's all, everything is needs fixing. And I think the IMF is not only about money. It's about technical assistance. It's about probably giving confidence to everybody that Lebanon is on the right track. You
were just in Kuwait. Talk to me about Gulf investment, because essentially what I've heard from Gulf countries is that they're willing to put their money in Lebanon, but only when Hezbollah is disarmed. What was the message you got from them?
They are actually, frankly, they first stress on the issue of reforms, and they say IMF. But also, on the other hand, without they saying it, we know that everybody today is waiting for the implementation of 1701, which is happening.
Yeah. How much money do you anticipate Lebanon will bring in terms of that FDI, foreign direct investment?
At the moment, I don't think much is coming at the moment. But we have to wait for...
But how much do you anticipate? Is it going to be a gold rush?
If we have total stability, like the economists say, assumes total stability. Yeah, Lebanon is a small country. Lebanon could come back quickly, especially with all the geopolitical changes happening around us, you know. Mm-hmm. We are praying all the time for Syria to really be stable. Syria is our entrance to the Arab world. We are hoping that whatever is happening in Oman succeeds, because that helps as well. So we have for many years been victims of whatever happens in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So let's hope that things
You're
go
optimistic?
Cautiously. I've learned, I'm an aged person, so I've always learned to be cautiously optimistic. But I'm hopeful. You see, I can see that Lebanon can easily be much better than it is at the moment. It has the potential, it has the human resources, it has the diaspora, which actually, in spite of everything, has kept Lebanon floating with the remittances, you see. So, I mean, this is the capital of Lebanon, and it's a beautiful country. You were just there, you were telling me. You enjoyed going there. Lebanon could compete easily, you know, to be back as a country that can attract investment. Actually, we are at the moment, you know, when I was in Parliament, I introduced a members' bill and got a law passed for regulating PPPs.
Yes.
So how do we, you know, I know there's no appetite only for grants. There's more appetite for investment. So that's why we are, you know, going to be, we had the first meeting for the Higher Council for Privatization and Partnership. In that meeting, we announced that the airport in the north, René Mawad Airport, or Playat Airport as they call it, could be up for PPPs. The Prime Minister took a helicopter there and announced that. And already there is interest for it to become, let's say, a cargo hub, and probably low-cost airline.
Tell me about taxation. How quickly are you going to sort this? Because a lot of people are worried that any retroactive taxation is going to really put them out of business.
No, we are not going to be butchering, I mean, what we want to do is we're not going to put new taxes, but we are going to make sure to collect whatever is owed. See, there are two files that I'm going to be, because I was busy in the first few weeks with the IMF issue and meeting people and all that. Now, as I go back, I have two files to really concentrate on: customs and taxation. Customs is also, I think, a priority even on taxation, because customs, that's where you pay customs and you collect VAT. So if we are able,
in theory,
no, it will happen. It will happen. We are. You see, I don't believe that you can treat corruption by just changing people. If you get somebody new, they will teach him in 2 weeks how to make money also. The greed is always there. No, we're going to change the system.
Are we talking about artificial intelligence and technology?
So what we are going to be doing customs, first of all, we are going to be putting, X-rays with artificial intelligence, but we're not going to buy them. We're going to do it on a BOT basis, because I want those who provide them to maintain them.
Yes.
Sit by them, because before we had X-rays, and what used to happen, the truck will hit it and it will go out of order, and then it'll take weeks or months to really repair it. So I'm going to put them all over, not only in the port, the other port in Tripoli and all over the land borders. And I'm going to introduce in the container terminals the pre-shipment inspection on high-value goods, you see. So all this underpricing and all that should stop. That's how you really enhance your revenues from customs and VAT. So that's in the process of being done.
Yes.
And then on the tax system, one of my priorities now is to digitalize.
Yes.
You need to, unless today you can't do things on paper, and so everything has to become, online and properly digitalized. Maybe I'm planning to create in the ministry a data center, one data center for everything.
Yes.
So it's under control, it's properly maintained. We get all the resources, human and other, to put them there. And we're going to try to make Lebanon, regarding the finance ministry, online. Regarding all the other ministries, also we have been negotiating now with the World Bank a special loan to digitalize all ministries. Lebanon has the human resources to do that. I mean, our boys and girls are working all over the Arab world and Europe and Africa, and doing all these specialized jobs, And we are finding a huge response for people to come back. I'll give you an example.
One question before we move there. Absolutely, you have incredible human capital, but you also have issues with electricity and internet. So if you're going to upgrade, that requires that you're going to have to improve that internet.
The internet actually in Beirut itself is fine. It's being...
I'm there quite often. It's a bit spotty.
It depends where you stay, but unfortunately, the new minister is very aggressive.
Yes.
He's very aggressive. And
so you see this improving across the country?
Let me tell you what's going to happen. For example, we are going to be changing the board of directors of CDR. And it's being done in a very transparent way. So the OMSAR, the Ministry of Specialized in Recruitment, announced that it's going to be recruiting people to fill these jobs. You know how many candidates applied? For 8 jobs, 650. Many of them from abroad. Also, they announced the regulatory authority for the telecom. You know how many people applied? 525 so far.
So you feel the confidence in what you're doing?
People, we improved their wages. And so as these regulatory authorities start working, for example, in the telecom and internet issue, OGERO, which is at the moment a government body, is going to become Lebanon Telecom.
Yes.
Lebanon Telecom will be given a new license for mobile phones. It's going to own the internet and the landlines. And it's going to be a company owned by the state, but it is going to sell at least 30 to 40% to the private sector one of the big companies in the world or in the Arab world. So the private sector will be running it and offering the service, you see. So these are changes that the law stipulates that happen, but they never applied the law.
Yes.
Okay? So same thing is going to happen to electricity. I explained to you that the private sector will be building new generation, and also we're going to get the private sector in distribution and collection. So the private sector is going to get bigger and bigger role in all this.
Talk to me about the macroeconomic picture, because there's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Well, uncertainty in Lebanon, yes, there is. We are actually hoping that stability will come soon, you see. The president is working on, he's handing the file of the 1701.
Yes.
And as you saw when you visited Beirut today, you noticed a difference on the airport road, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. So things are going to start to move, towards stability. I hope that we will reach that soon.
Tell me about the gold, because there are questions about how you may decide to manage the gold given where prices are today.
The issue of the gold, you see, gold actually provides confidence.
It does.
It does. But neither the Ministry of Finance nor the central bank can take a decision about gold. It's the parliament. If time comes when maybe there's a need, we have to go to parliament and see what they decide.
Well, some people would say that Lebanon isn't a country in debt simply because of the amount of gold you have.
We've been lucky. Gold is going up and up, you see. Let's see. I mean, I don't want to be commenting on this at the moment, you see. I mean, it's too early until we have really real figures and a plan. I would be very careful commenting on this issue.
Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.